The financial world is in shock today as Iraq makes an announcement that could reshape global currency markets forever. What was once dismissed as rumor or speculation is now official. Iraq has introduced a new contract rate for the Iraqi Dinar. This is not a drill or another whisper in investment circles. This is the real deal. As of 2025, Iraq appears ready to take the boldest economic step in its modern history. For years, investors have held on to the dream of a dinar revaluation, the moment when Iraq's currency would rise dramatically in value. That dream might finally be edging closer to reality. The release of this contract rate has sent ripples across financial networks, creating a mix of excitement, disbelief, and cautious optimism. What does this mean for Iraq, its people, and the millions of investors who've waited for this moment? Let's break it all down and uncover what this historic move could mean for the world economy. The announcement didn't come with loud celebrations or political parades. It came quietly but powerfully. Iraq's central authorities confirmed that a contract rate had been formally introduced, marking a pivotal shift in the nation's currency policy. But what exactly is a contract rate? Simply put, it's a special exchange rate negotiated for major transactions, typically between governments, multinational corporations, or major financial institutions. Unlike the rate the public sees at exchange counters, a contract rate reflects deeper economic relationships and confidence in the currency's long-term strength. For Iraq, the very act of establishing this kind of rate signals readiness to participate in higher value trade and structured financial agreements. This is not something a struggling economy does. It's what a nation preparing for serious global integration begins to implement. To grasp the full weight of this development, it's important to remember Iraq's economic journey. For decades, the country's currency struggled due to war, sanctions, and instability. The Iraqi dinar, once one of the strongest currencies in the Middle East, lost most of its value in the aftermath of conflict and political unrest. Yet, despite the setbacks, Iraq's massive oil reserves, youthful population, and strategic partnerships gave analysts reasons to believe that one day, the dinar could rise again. Today's contract rate might be the first tangible step toward that long-awaited resurgence. Financial experts are now debating whether this move is a precursor to a full revaluation, where Iraq adjusts its official exchange rate to reflect stronger economic fundamentals. If that happens, it could mean major gains for those holding dinar. The global reaction has been swift. Analysts from around the world are calling this announcement one of the most significant financial developments of 2025. Some see it as a testing phase, a strategic trial to evaluate how a higher dinar valuation performs in large-scale contracts before a potential public rate adjustment. Others believe this is Iraq's way of signaling to global markets that the country's economy is stabilizing and that it's time for international investors to take a second look. Either way, the world is paying attention. The introduction of a contract rate has pushed Iraq into the global financial spotlight once again, but this time, the tone is far more optimistic than in years past. So, what's driving this sudden confidence from Iraq? The answer lies in years of quiet but determined reform. Iraq has been modernizing its banking infrastructure, improving transparency, and aligning its monetary policy with international standards. These changes were not made overnight. They've been part of a gradual effort to rebuild trust with institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. With corruption controls tightening, foreign reserves growing, and inflation cooling, Iraq's financial foundation is stronger than it's been in decades. This contract rate is more than just a number. It's a statement of intent. It shows Iraq's readiness to operate on a new level of credibility, one that could finally bridge the gap between speculation and sustainable growth. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean everyone will immediately benefit. Contract rates are not public rates. They're used for high-level deals involving government, projects, infrastructure, or international trade. However, this doesn't diminish their significance. Historically, nations that introduce contract rates often do so as a testing mechanism before revaluing their currency more broadly. Think of it as a pilot program. If the system holds, and if Iraq successfully manages these contract transactions without destabilizing inflation, it could lay the groundwork for a broader exchange rate shift accessible to everyone. In short, this could be Iraq's soft launch for the much-anticipated revaluation event. For investors holding Dinar, this announcement represents both hope and a warning. The hope lies in the fact that the government is acknowledging the Dinar's potential to rise in value. The warning, however, is that such moves are complex and take time. Revaluations don't happen overnight. They require strategic planning, economic balance, and international coordination. Still, the symbolism here is undeniable. Iraq is no longer avoiding the conversation about its currency's strength. It's now taking controlled steps toward realizing that strength in a measurable way. Financial historians point out that when countries move from speculative economies to structured reforms, contract rates often serve as the bridge. In the past, nations like Kuwait, Vietnam, and even China used similar strategies to transition their currencies towards stronger international positions. For Iraq, the contract rate may be its version of that transitional bridge. The difference this time is timing. Iraq's oil exports are increasing, foreign investors are returning, and regional stability is improving. Combine all those factors, and you have the perfect environment for a currency ready to grow stronger. Let's also not forget the psychological effect this announcement has had. For years, the Dinar community has been divided, half hopeful, half skeptical. Many dismiss talk of revaluation as conspiracy theory or internet fantasy. But with an official contract rate now in play, the conversation has changed dramatically. The skeptics are rethinking their positions, while the believers are doubling down on their faith in Iraq's potential. This announcement doesn't confirm a revaluation, but it does confirm one thing: Iraq is moving forward, not standing still. Another layer of this story lies in Iraq's trade ambitions. The country is aggressively pursuing partnerships with global energy companies, infrastructure developers, and digital finance systems. The contract rate could be instrumental in facilitating those agreements. When a nation starts using negotiated exchange rates for high-value projects, it signals confidence to foreign partners, confidence that their investments are backed by a currency that's growing in credibility. This confidence can snowball into more international contracts, more reserves, and eventually more value in the currency itself. Economic observers are calling this the most critical period for Iraq since the early 2000s. The success or failure of the contract rate initiative could determine how the world perceives Iraq's financial future. If it succeeds, Iraq can move from being a high-risk, high-reward investment zone to a respected emerging market economy. And if that happens, the dinar's journey from undervalued to globally recognized could happen faster than anyone expects. That's why this announcement matters. It's not just about exchange rates, it's about a nation reclaiming its economic identity. Still, experts are urging patience. While optimism is warranted, investors must understand that global economic shifts take time to unfold. Even if Iraq's contract rate experiment performs well, the transition to a revalued public rate could take months or even years. There will be political debates, international negotiations, and domestic adjustments before anything major happens. However, the fact that these discussions are now grounded in official policy, rather than rumor, gives them far more credibility than ever before. Meanwhile, inside Iraq, this development could have a morale-boosting effect. The dinar has long been a source of frustration and national pride mixed together. For everyday Iraqis, a stronger currency means improved purchasing power, greater financial stability, and a renewed sense of sovereignty. It's not just about foreign investors, it's about giving the Iraqi people a currency they can trust again. A credible dinar could attract more global trade and reduce reliance on US dollars for domestic transactions, a major goal for Iraq's central bank. The implications stretch even further. If Iraq continues to stabilize its currency, it could soon qualify for greater participation in global financial platforms. This includes possible entry into international digital payment systems and cross-border trade networks. Such moves would only strengthen the dinar's position in world markets. Many analysts believe this is exactly what Iraq is preparing for, not just a short-term bump in value, but a full-scale modernization of its financial identity. Still, with all the excitement, experts are advising caution. Contract rates, by nature, are reserved for specific deals and don't automatically translate into higher exchange rates for retail investors. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, but the reality is that monetary policy moves slowly. What's different this time is the direction. For the first time in years, that direction seems to be upward. Iraq's economic management team appears focused, deliberate, and ready to play the long game. Let's take a step back and appreciate what this really means. After decades of hardship, Iraq is showing the world it's ready to move beyond crisis and into prosperity. The contract rate is not the finish line, it's the starting line for a new phase of economic confidence. Whether this leads to a full revaluation or a gradual strengthening of the dinar, it marks a turning point. Investors who waited patiently through uncertainty may finally be witnessing the first signs of their patience paying off. Looking ahead, experts suggest keeping an eye on Iraq's upcoming trade deals, oil export data, and international banking updates. Each of these factors will reveal how effectively Iraq is implementing its new rate strategy. If more countries begin signing high-value contracts under this new rate, it will confirm that Iraq's financial systems are functioning smoothly and that the world is ready to embrace its economic comeback. As 2025 continues, this story will likely dominate financial headlines. For now, one thing is certain: Iraq has made a move that no one can ignore. The introduction of the contract rate is both symbolic and strategic. It's a signal that Iraq's economy is maturing, that its currency is regaining strength, and that the long-discussed dinar story may be entering its most exciting chapter yet. For those following the Iraqi dinar for years, this announcement represents validation, proof that the conversation wasn't for nothing. While no one can predict exactly what comes next, the shift from speculation to structured policy is monumental. Iraq is no longer waiting for change, it's